Sounds good. All right, why don't we go ahead and get started since it's now the time. I want to welcome everybody here tonight. This is a great turnout. And I'm sure there's probably people coming in maybe a little bit late. Anyway, I just wanted to, I'm glad you're here, all the Master Gardeners and interns, and I think we've got some guests out there too. Um, Not too much to say, just the normal type of sorry, I got distracted by the tarantula in the chat room. Um, Requests, just make sure that you're muted. I think Lisa's muting you. So that shouldn't be a problem. But remember that if you do need to say something, you're gonna have to unmute yourself. Most people have turned off the cameras to save their bandwidth, which makes a whole lot of sense. I'll probably be doing that also. Depends on the weather. Anyway, I'm going to turn this over to Nita, who's going to introduce our speaker for this evening. Thank you.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, tonight we have Coletta Casaba. For those that have been around for a while, she spoke to us back in 2021 when we were going through the COVID and everything had to be done on Zoom. Coletta is from Hendricks County, which is southwest of Indianapolis. She is from Brownsburg, Indiana. For those that don't know anything about her, there's so much to say, it's unbelievable, but she has been a master gardener for 44 years. Well, probably more than that because my information is a little dated that I have, so she's probably got a few more years on, but that's quite an accomplishment. She is a 3,000 gold master gardener. She's an advanced Indiana master naturalist. She is a popular speaker and presenter in central Indiana. She is the winner of the Honeywell Award for Excellence in Horticultural, presented by the Department of Horticulture and Landscaping Design at Purdue University and the State Garden Club of Indiana. She's a National Gardener Crusader Award winner in education. She has written a number of articles for my Indiana Home Magazine, the Indiana Gardening Magazine, for Hendricks Master Gardeners, for the Eagle Creek newsletter, and for newspapers in her area. She lives on 13 acres with a lake and a bubbling brook. She designs large flower beds and planted areas, and she has a huge variety of flowers, shrubs, and trees. When she presented before us, she presented on landscaping ideas. And tonight she's going to talk to us about what we can do with the winter gardener. So everybody, I'll turn it over to Coletta.
Good evening. It's so nice to be here. I wish I could see all your smiling faces. Behind me is a picture of my yard, because I'm speaking from my husband's office and it is so messy, you'd run if you saw it. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm sorry you gave that long introduction. Actually, I just like to play in the dirt. They probably consider me the old master gardener in my organization. It's about the same size as yours. And we have a good time speaking and learning, don't we? Always. My latest thing that I do is, since COVID, I was asked by we have a local newspaper that is printed once a week, and it comes to your house and you can learn about gardening. And that has been my little thing that I've been doing. And boy, I'll tell you, I learn a lot. Sometimes, you think you know all about horseradish, and then you read articles to write something about it, and boy, maybe you don't know all about it. Anyway, without further ado, thank you for having me. Tonight we're going to look at what your winter garden looks like. Sometimes we just sort of ignore it. We don't even bother looking out the window. So we'll look at a few little pictures here to just remind you what winter looks like. Maybe not as far south as you are. Now you could do this on your lake. Wouldn't that be interesting? You never know what your things are going to look like with snow on. I don't know if you imagine making a snowman this big. I don't know where we'd get that much snow in Indiana. Occasionally we do, don't we? So have you ever seen this on your tree? I just came across this lately and I thought this was interesting to look for, called ghost apples. And what happens is the ice freezes around the apple and the apple finally rots and gets all mushy and falls out, and you just have it looks like beautiful glass apples, which are indeed ice still hanging on your tree. Kind of a different something to look for in your winter garden. And this is, as you drive in my driveway, this is how I greet people. I like blue accents. I think we talked about that before in the other program. So tonight we're going to look at some trees, shrubs, some evergreens, maybe interesting bark. We're going to look at structures, some silhouettes, berries, seed pods, some plants that stay green all winter, some jewels of the winter, and look at a couple spring flowers, sort of just to give you an overall what it's like. So before long, I'm going to look out my window and it's going to look like this. But when it's all over, what a lovely scene. And we need to get this in our minds and hearts that winter in truth is a beautiful time of the year. It's just different than all of our other seasons. I don't know if you've ever heard of good old Mr. Wilson, but look at this camera. Can you imagine taking pictures of it? So I thought I'd show you some pictures that he had of snowflakes. No, I don't think our eyes can actually look that close, but if you have a macro lens on you could take some pictures of snowflakes. Amazing. And then of course, when you get a really heavy kind of permafrost that's on plants, it's kind of fun to look at that too. So first we're going to look at some living structures. Now you know those trees out there have all different kinds of shapes. And some of them had different colored barks and texture. Some of it have bark that peels. So let's look at some of those. Well, a good old blue spruce will grow in Indiana clay. Unfortunately, it's usually not a long-lived tree, but what a wonderful shaped tree. And in the winter, it looks like this, a delight for your eye. Abrevieties. I don't know how wet it has been there, but here, if you have abrevieties, you have to get in gear and water them because you may lose them because we had no rain at all in October and they're shallow rooted. So you have to give them a good drink before they go into winter, and otherwise you might lose them. All kinds of abrevieties, that is. Here I have an area where there are different kinds of spruce trees planted, which is kind of fun to plant a copse of trees like this if you have the room. Certainly gives you some green and some texture. And of course, the trees have little decorations on for us, right? Bet there's some crafters out there that'll do things with pie cones or Christmas program where you'll use that. The trees will provide it for you. Kind of looks like a dog's head to me here. And then there are evergreen trees that are not green, they're yellow. And so one might look, if you're going to plant some type of shrub or a small tree, you might look into the yellow varieties. Certainly will give you some color in your garden all year long, and especially potent in the wintertime. Here's a photo here of some dark green and the golden together. Have you ever seen this tree, a dawn redwood? This was given to me in honor of my father when he passed. The dawn redwood is one of the trees that are left from when the dinosaurs roamed the earth. Very easy tree to grow. You can see, instead of having needles on it, well, you can see this, but you can't feel it. They're very soft, and it loses its leaves in the wintertime. I like the dawn redwood all year, and particularly for its interesting shape in the wintertime. Dawn redwood. And then if you live near water, you probably have a sycamore because they grow everywhere here, they're native trees. They have this really beautiful white bark that is very much white in the wintertime. A little story I tell the kids when I have them out about it. What kind of tree is that? And they look at it, and if you look at the base of the tree, the bark peels off. And so you say, gee, that tree looks sick. I don't think it's going to grow anymore. So you teach them sycamore. Fun little story that kids like. How about a black gum tree? If that doesn't look like an alligator skin. So you have different kinds of bark with trees that you may have planted in your yard. How about this guy? We have a lot of scarlet oaks in our yard. Did you know that they grow really kind of fast compared to other trees? This was just a whip when we planted it, and about 5 years later, you can see it has pretty good size. The reason I put this in here, not only does it have a lot of acorns, which all the squirrels and deer are really enjoying it this time of year, is that they keep their red foliage until spring. They don't lose that. Another neat thing I just found out about them. We had mallard ducks up in the yard eating acorns, and I didn't know that they did that. Okay, white birch, they're lovely, different multi-stem tree to have. But again, it gives you different color, different texture. Fun plant to grow. And then a river birch, because of the exfoliating bark and its multi-stem, gives you winter interest in your garden. And there may be other trees that do this. I'm just giving you an idea. Now this, I absolutely love this plant. If you don't grow an oak leaf hydrangea, I would hope you would consider it. Not, first of all, it's one of our native hydrangeas, so you don't have to worry about anything except getting it planted and then hopefully that the deer don't eat it all. When I planted this shrub, it was about 3 foot tall or so, grew another foot or so. Come winter time, the deer trimmed it back, and that went on for quite a while. Now I think the shrub itself, because it has spread, is probably about 6 foot wide at least, all the way around. Beautiful flowers on it. And right now, this is what it looks like. And this leaf color will last for 1 month. I finally paid attention and kept track of it one year. So it's nice to have for this long 1 month of fall color on it. And then when it does lose its leaves, also has exfoliating bark. But since it's not as big as the other, you have to get up close to see it. But I love it. I had to try this, and I bet you all have done this too. The walking stick, this contorted filbert, just amazed me when I saw it in a garden book, so I had to buy one, and I did. And true to itself, it is contorted. There are other plants out there like this. I have a little close up of the way it it contorts itself. But in the wintertime, wow, look at that. Now, I'll have to admit in the summer it has all its leaves on, so you don't see the real beauty of the plant. But put some snow on it in the wintertime, and it's great. For you people out there that you do outdoor pots or bouquets inside, contorted filbert branches work real well and give you some really cool interest. This is, I think, a relatively short-lived shrubbery. I think mine lived about 20 years. You know, unfortunately, nothing lives forever, except some trees try, don't they? Red twig dogwood is a nice shrub to get. This is the variegated kind. You know, we're never happy with the made things, and we always change them some. So we have a variegated dogwood here that you see during the summer. And then in the winter, look what it does. No wonder it's called a red twig dogwood. Now this plant is like most of plants, shrubs that need to be cut back 1/3 to keep the red in the coloration of the stems. If you want a plant that's a nice blocking, say you have an area you don't want to look at, I planted American highbush cranberry. I do have the botanical name on it too, because there is a non-native, but this is the best one to have. I think it grows, it must be about 10 foot tall it's grown, and it made a real nice screen for me. And this is what it looks like, spring, say May. Oh, blossoms, wonderful. And then all of a sudden, these little red berries, cranberries, of course, come on. This is even before the fall is on. It'll get all these cranberries on it. Oops. And there's a close-up look. Now, they do indeed taste like cranberries. Need some sugar with them. And this is what the shrub will look like in the fall. I like the fall color on it at last month or so. Then, of course, in the winter time, when all the leaves and everything are gone, I still have these red berries on my shrubs. Now I thought, well, what is wrong with these? If they're edible and I can eat them, why are my birds not eating them? And I think it must be that the birds kind of save this if they can think and believe and reason like that. Or maybe the freezing and thawing make them more easier for them to digest. I think that could be the reason anyway. So you'll have nice red berries on these shrubs all year. Not all year, all winter, most of the winter. Well, we do have some greens in the winter, don't we? It's not all brown and beiges. If you have dogwoods, they keep their green foliage all winter long. And they make a nice shrub or accent piece. And then if you planted English ivy, you'll have that forever because I don't know that you can ever dig it all up and get rid of it. Because it will root, you know, if a piece lays on the ground, put out those little like tentacles, I guess. I don't know what they're, I forget what they call it. Anyway, it'll root. It works real well for an area as far as a ground cover too. But English ivy is green. That's the point. If you grow Pakistana, I know it looks a little sad, but you would too if you were out there all winter. But it's lovely and green and will be looking very nice when it comes springtime. There are different kinds of Pachysandra. We do have a lovely native. Oh, I guess you can tell I like native plants because they're easy. I don't like to work real hard. This is a blue fescue, one of those small little grasses that we plant for accent. Kind of looks like a wild hare. And this is what the blue fescue looks like in the winter time. They keep the blue color. So they're kind of a fun plant. Interesting, they do go to seed on you, and I have other plants coming up always with the blue fescue. The bad part of it is you probably have to give it a haircut a couple times a year. Bad part because I don't like to have to work so hard. This is my most very, very, very famous favorite fern. And this is a native fern called a Christmas fern. Now they say it's called a Christmas fern. If you look at this little frond and see the little leaflet, it looks sort of like Santa's sleigh. Well, okay, that's fine. But anyway, your Christmas fern will stay like this in your garden until next spring. Then it'll turn brown and up will come the new fronds for the plant. It's a fern that spreads by just getting wider. It does not spread by spores, or I have not seen ever a fern by spores. But then again, it does have spores. So you know how long it takes a fern to grow from spores, several years, and it does not look like a fern. Some of them don't. I like thyme. It's very pretty. It's a very light sort of, I call it a greenish color in the summertime, but in the winter, it gets this beautiful color on it. So you can have herbs in your garden just to look at in the winter. Oh, yes, and we can always take something green and put it in a window box. Makes you feel good, doesn't it? Oh, yes, you might have some moss. If you don't, oh my goodness, I'm going to give you a recipe. So you can get some moss off of something that you have, or beg, borrow, or steal from somebody. Put buttermilk or beer in your blender, blend it up. You don't have to make it like powdered into nothing, and you paint it on your object. Sometimes it helps to put a little soil on it, a little mud on it, keep it soggy. or excuse me, keep it moist but not soggy for 3 weeks. And you know what? You'll have moss growing. Best to do, of course, in a shaded area. So how about structures? You ever pay any attention to those in the winter time? Just a peaceful scene, is it not? Well, my husband decided that we needed to build this um, arbor type of thing in our yard. I didn't know that we were going to make it 24 feet long and 10-foot wide. But it is fun. I've got flower beds on either side, and many times we have meetings in the arbor. But it sure is pretty to look at in the wintertime. I've grown different types of plants on that arbor. I would advise not to grow grapes because the Japanese beetles eat them and they leave a lot of debris on you if you're sitting in there. So I would not use grapes, although it was fun to see the grapes hanging down. And this is what it looks like now. Looking across my lake, that's my horse barn, which is great for storing all the stuff that you probably shouldn't keep anyway. I do not have horses. But in the wintertime, look at that. It is a sight to behold. This is my friend who is a rose grower. Her beautiful garden. In the wintertime, it is beautiful too. I want you to think about that. All the structures you might have in your garden and what they look like with snow cascading over them or sticking on them. We put that fence just for looking, and it really looks neat in the wintertime too. Just to stop your eye. You may have one of these to grow some vines on it. And oh yes, the deer. That's John. He used to have horns. My husband is in archery, likes to shoot archery, and I bought this for him to shoot practice at. And he had nice little horns. Well, would you believe when the deer come up from down here is a field that we have, they attacked my deer because he had horns. I guess the deer were in rut or something. Anyway, poor John no longer has horns, but he makes a nice thing to look at in your garden when, if there's wild friends, leave him alone. Or you may have more formal statuary like this. Can't you just hear that little tune that fellow's playing? Rocks. I like rocks. We had some property down by Paoli in southern Indiana, and there was a quarry there, and I had this beautiful triangular rock, and I had to have it and put it up in my bed that just sits there. Why not? People pay good money, for rocks. I have such big beds. I used rocks that we brought up from this old quarry to line them. But don't they look kind of nice in the wintertime? You can make all kinds of, sort of like clouds. You could make little different animals out of them. I put this in because even your porch might have some nice snow interest in the winter. Never had a bunny come out, but you never know. Fences. Oh, this big old tree fell down and we let part of it go down the back of the hill. There's a creek down here that runs through my property. And we just left that. I said, you leave that in my garden. That'll be interest. Well, look at that in the winter time. This fence really looks cool, doesn't it? We decided, we're going to be the old pioneers, and we cut this sassafras wood from our paoli farm, and then to split it was it doesn't split well. That is a real chore. And we made this little fence for no reason other than it looked neat. And I like it in the winter. Sometimes I sit little animals in here in the summertime, something to give us fun things to look at. It's not my fence, but it's interesting. So think about getting your cameras out and looking at the different fences. You never know what art you might see. Mother Nature does it for us. I bet everybody wants a cup of hot chocolate now. Well, how much snow did we get? I like people that have good senses of humor. You have to in the winter. Another fun thing you could do in your yard. But you may decide that you've had it. Too much snow. So you can leave or you could do this. Wouldn't that be fun to build something like that? I don't think we have any master gardeners that are sculptures. Maybe you do in your club. So then the winter is not all bad and there's colors, and I call these the jewels of the winter. Since it's our state bird, who could not love cardinals? They're with us all year long. They're so beautiful in the winter with snow. This is over Eagle Creek Park where I lead hikes and everything. And this was on one of our feeders, actually a blue jay and a cardinal, and they were like talking to each other. Look at how they have their head, the feathers on their heads up. And then we have nuthatches, of which I fondly call the upside down bird because it seems like they're always upside down. Hopefully you have lots of tufted titmosses. They're very friendly birds. I talk to mine and he talks back to me. Chickadees, chickadees. And then the beautiful blue jay again. And when it does snow, we have to remember to put out a little snack for those birds. We have a pileated woodpecker that lives in the woods. They don't come too often up to see you because they are very private birds. They don't like to be around, but they do enjoy the suet. And if you see any holes like this in trees, you do have a pileated woodpecker or pileated, depending on how you wish to pronounce it. Dinner time. Well, these are the birds' summer homes, none that we've seen. They're left. But you do need to have an evergreen in your yard because where do you think all the birds that we looked at before go when there's a terrible storm? They nestle down under the boughs of these evergreen trees. Okay, so seed heads. Let's look at some seed heads. Look at all the shapes and everything if you were an artist, and that's just, I don't even know what kind it is, old grass that grows in the fields. You know what this is, right? I hope some of you grow them. Love hydrangeas. When they get a little snow on, wow, that's a reason for not getting rid of all the seed heads in your yard, just to look at them. Of course, the one on the left is our native goldenrod. Oh, you got this one. And look what happens when the birds come. They eat all the seeds. That's why they say you should keep your purple coneflower up in the wintertime. But I don't understand that too much because the bird that eats the seed is already gone south. Anyway, if they're there, look what a little fluff they have, like little hats on them. So whether you keep them or not, these plants will seed the purple coneflowers. They're another native plant. And of course, if you have roses, sometimes there are rose hips, depending on the variety that you might grow. Gee, I don't see any caterpillars. That's all my beautiful milkweed. I like to grow milkweed for my caterpillars. Looks like snowballs in my garden. Nothing but our sedums. There's nothing wrong in keeping the sedums up all year. Of course, they're pretty tidy, and we maybe don't get so fussy about our garden when we see that. And then, of course, we have ornamental grasses. Unfortunately, this is not a native, although we have some darling native grasses. Someone gifted me these. And then, of course, we have seed heads that are natural. I think they stuck some berries in here to make this photo, though. Oh, where do you sit in the winter time? Well, look, you can have fun with this little couple. I like their shoes. But the snows of winter do change what your seating looks like. Makes that chair soft, right? If you didn't know it was snow, you'd think you were sitting down in comfort person place. Beautiful winter scene. Nice plants, nice structure. And there's our pretty window box. Oh, but what happens? It melts. And then guess what we have to have? If you don't have this plant, buy some bulbs. You can probably still buy them and um, plant them. My snowdrops will be up by the middle of February. They'll be up much sooner for you. And as they come up, they're very short, the plant is. By the time they have finished growing, I'm sorry, my phone's ringing. Hopefully my husband answers it. The time they grow out in the rest of the spring, they'll be pretty tall and they spread a lot. Now they're teeny and their little faces go down, look down. So you kind of got to look up to them, but they're probably about the size of a quarter or a 50-cent piece, the flower itself. But I don't mind that they're teeny. I am so glad to see a flower in February. And then, of course, the next ones that I enjoy are the crocuses, and so do the bees. Gotta feed those bees, don't we? So I want you to really think about when you go outside with your winter hat and see what you can see when you're walking in the woods. We've looked at trees and bark and structures and seed pods and stuff that stayed green all winter and some birds and a couple of spring flowers. We have trees that give us nice structure and are green. And you may have something in your yard or your neighbors or someplace that you can enjoy looking. A garden. Neat bark on a tree. Christmas fern, oh, you'll have green all winter long, guaranteed. And don't forget the seed heads of those you may have out there. And don't forget your friends are extremely colorful and delightful to have. And they're happy if you give them a little snack. We didn't talk anything about lighting, but sometimes I leave some of my solar lights out and look at that. Or maybe you leave your bird bath out. What a lovely time of year the winter has. What delights for our eyes. So think about if you're going to plant new things, what you might do to make your garden look more attractive. I've given you a few ideas, and I know you're thinking about, oh yeah, I could have done that. I could do this. I could do that. And this is what I look out my window. I have a house that is half in the ground, and this is what I look out at the winter time. All kinds of structures. plan ahead, plant ahead. Enjoy your winter garden. So I am finished. We have anything that you'd like to ask me or have a question? If not, that is fine.
Those were beautiful pictures. Thank you so much
You're welcome, Diane.
for all the information. If you got a question, you can either put it in the chat or you can unmute yourself to ask the question.
And if you don't have any questions, that's just fine too.
I say right now we don't have anything in the chat, so
All righty. Well, thank you so much for having me come. I enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed seeing some winter pictures and think about planning ahead and planting ahead for your winter garden. Till I see you again. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks so much. We really appreciate this.
Mhm.
All right. So why don't we go ahead? Those were really nice pictures. A little chilly, but otherwise really very pretty. Go ahead and get the business meeting started. And let's see, time for the business meeting at 7:16, I think it is. All right, so the first thing we have for the business meeting is minutes. And Veronica, do you want to present the minutes?
Yes. Everyone should have seen the October minutes were actually for which was held September 30th. We're in the last Sunnyside Times. If you're willing, we can call that entertain a motion to accept them.
I move to approve them. This is Lisa.
Okay.
Need a second? I'll second.
so you all can also second in the chat. I can also read the chat aloud if need
Second.
be. There you go. Marino's got it. Marino's got it, so the president doesn't have to second.
Excellent.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. And Diana, you want to ask for
Yeah, all those,
a
okay,
call?
so to do a vote, if you look at your React area, you can raise your hand. We need to practice this anyway, because we will be voting on the slate for 2025. So you can raise your hand to vote for approval of the minutes. Oh, people are doing it. Oh, good job. Good job.
Oops.
All
Wrong
right,
one.
so,
Oh, raise hand.
or you can, thumbs up will work too. We'll take it. Either raise hand or thumb up. All right. Everybody finding the react button? Raise hand, thumb up. Okay, I think we have, okay, everybody's we've got any okay, so anybody who disapproves of the minutes, same sign? Oh, don't forget to take your hand down.
Okay.
So I think we've got approval of the minutes.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. All right, and then you see on your screen there our treasurer's report. So Kathy, take it away.
Hi, everyone. We started the month with $20,911.93. Our receipts for the month were $1,971.37, mostly dues, Kroger rewards, dinner reservations for the holiday dinner, and donations to the farmers market. And our disbursements, the money we paid out during the month, was $780.86. Mostly, a few of the projects are turning in their reimbursement requests. So our ending cash balance was $22,102.44. We I do need to speak about both of those things. First of all, dues. 75 people have already paid their dues for 2025, which is good, but that still leaves 55 people who have not paid their dues, and they're due by December the 1st. And I mean, I don't care when you send them in before December the 1st, but you might want to remember that the last week in November is Thanksgiving week. So you're going to be busy doing Thanksgiving related things and you might forget to pay your dues. So I would, to avoid a $10 late fee, excuse me, and not being in the directory, I would go on and get that over with, so that you're not penalized for forgetting. And then the projects also need to turn in their reimbursement request before December the 1st. Any other questions?
They would like to know, Barbara would, how much was made on the tomato festival?
They would ask me a hard question. Okay, we took in $2,427.12, and we spent, of course, that piece of paper escapes me. Oh, here we go. We spent $865.49. I think it's around 1,500. I don't have the exact number in front of me.
And it's actually the Tomato Festival and also the Tomato Festival cookbook, of which I think we have about 70 or 80 copies left, which you'll be able to buy a copy or two at the December meeting.
Nice Christmas present. Okay.
Any other questions for Kathy? If not, we'll.
We do need to do so let me make a point of clarification. If you were in the intern class, you finished your hours, you are eligible for membership for 2025. If you have not finished your 40 hours of volunteer service, don't send dues to Kathy because you're not eligible yet for membership. We will get another email out about the dues and where to send them at. It has been in the newsletter, so you should have seen it in the last newsletter. But it goes to the P.O. box in Clarksville. But again, if you're an intern and you have not completed your hours, do not become a Master Gardener member yet, a Sunnyside member yet. It messes up the system.
And Kathy, they want to know how much the dues are.
Kathy's muted. Kathy's not answering yet. And then Karen, while we're getting that
I'm
answer,
back. I forgot to whatever. The dues are $30 if you get an electronic newsletter. If you want a print newsletter, it's an additional $20. But you also have to fill out the membership form so that we have your information for the directory.
okay. And then Karen would like to know, because Karen, the last in-person meeting we had in September, did anybody else besides Monica order from Porter Shirts and did it go okay? You can also put that in the chat too. You don't have to like verbally tell me, but Karen would like to know if anybody's had any problems with Porter Shirts in Sellersburg, because Monica had a slight issue, it sounds like. But let Karen know, Karen Alexander know, so that she can work with you on that.
Okay, if there's no other questions about the Treasurer's report, then the next thing on the agenda is an update from Gina.
Yay, it's me again. I noticed some of you have already found your annual agreements on the hours website. Good job. That probably came live on November 1. So when you go in to submit your hours, which I know some of you are trying and maybe are not getting in, your agreement's there. If you're trying to log in and you can't, email me and either Sarah or I will get you squared away, because the system does like defect your password if you're not going in every few months. So it's possible that it just made your password expire. It's not that we kicked you out or anything. Email me, let me know, sign your agreement. 12 volunteer hours, 6 advanced training hours. I need those in by December 1 so that I can wrap up my stuff. And that's kind of the big thing right now. We've got Harrison County is starting a Master Gardener class in January. They will cap out at 20 people. They have about 15 or 16 right now. And then if anybody wants to help with 3rd grade, I still have a few openings up with 3rd grade ag in the classroom. And that's kind of it right now for me.
All right, thank you, Gina. All right, next up, we've got some project reports. Debbie Rudford for Pollinator Day and also Seed Saver.
On behalf of our pollinator team, we'd like to thank you so much for all of the past financial and volunteer help and support that you've provided. We've worked really hard over this last 10 years to improve the Pollinator Day event. This past year, we had 2,200 participants. Remembering that this is a family-free event for everyone, we're expecting even more folks next year. It seems like the word is getting out. This will be our 10th year, so it's an important anniversary. And our date for this coming year is April the 25th. And we'd love to have all of you volunteer again and help us out. We have already started as a pollinator team to make preparations for all the educational booths, getting all of the crafts for the kids in advance. This takes a lot of hours in advance, and it also takes having some financial resources available to use before some of our grant money that we will hope come in a little bit later. So we know that you all have been great in the past doing shout outs for pollinators. We've done that previously at our meetings, and we won't be meeting in person except for our holiday dinner in December. Then we will not be meeting in person January, February, or March. So we would like to ask if you possibly could participate with presents for pollinators at our holiday dinner and maybe bring your donations then. It would really help us out for getting our supplies that we need to get started. So I'd like to thank you a lot for that.
Want to change your hat and talk about the Seed Savers?
Sure. So the Seed Saver team would also like to say a big thank you, especially to some of our interns who have just done a wonderful job of label for all the packages. We are going to take on several new libraries this next year. So we do need all the seeds and seed heads that we can possibly get. There again, I realize you won't be coming, we won't be seeing you in person except at the holiday dinner. We'd like to have them at the very latest then, because it actually takes us a lot of work at the January and February meetings to get all these seeds cleaned and packaged up and ready to go. Another way is to contact me. I can meet you at Purdue if and we can do a drive-by. I've done that. We pull up, roll down the window, grab the seeds and go. You can drop them at the Purdue office and they will let me know that they're there to pick up. So if you do have them, if you could get those to us by the end of the year, that would be great. Big thank you in advance for that.
And we do have one point of clarification just because Debbie misspoke a little bit. It's Pollinator Day is April 26th, not the 25th. It's April 26th,
Oh,
2025.
okay, very sorry. Very sorry. I probably was looking at the wrong year's calendar, more than
Uh-huh.
likely. Yes. So we're always, always, always the last Saturday in April.
All right, thank you, Debbie. All right, Elizabeth, wreath making class.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Sending out an SOS. We need help. We need greenery for December 14th, the second Saturday. Please, please, please. Only 12 people have signed up to help with setup, working various hours, but we need people to set up starting at 7 a.m. and classes 9 to 11, 11 to 1, 1 to 3, and cleanup. We also need door prizes. Jet Rose is handling all of the registration and she will be coordinating the refreshment table. But we also need greeters and helpers. Again, I'm allergic to all of this, yet I am there. If you are allergic, there is a job for you. Trust me. I can find something for you. If you're only able to work a few hours, please consider working a few hours. If you have any greenery, we need magnolia, pine, spruce, yew, boxwood, juniper, holly, any dried material, grasses, seed pods, seed heads, dried flowers, deciduous holly, red twig dogwood. You name it. If you can be crafty with it, we can use it. Okay? If you have any questions, please, please contact me by phone 502-410-8406. Email. I am in the directory and I will respond to emails and phone calls, but we need greenery ASAP. Matt Dennison, the superintendent of New Albany Floyd County Parks, has given permission for master gardeners to go into the New Albany Floyd County Parks to get greenery. We just have to give him advance notice. So we will be dropping off greenery. I see you, Barbara, on that Friday. Okay, I will be there by 7 a.m. to set up tarps, and we can drop it off that day. So, if you have any questions, if you need help to get greenery, I'm your go-to girl. We can get coordinated, but we need it ASAP. There is no question too small. Okay, that's all I got.
Okay, Elizabeth, did you see in the chat that Angela Newton and Whitney Shaver mentioned that they want to volunteer and bring greenery?
I'm writing their names down right now. Thank
You
you.
blew up the chat box. Come on, Elizabeth.
Hey.
So when she says it's ASAP, she needs to know who's going to collect greenery. Do not collect the greenery today or tomorrow. We're collecting it the week of. But she just needs to know who's doing it so that if she's short on folks, that we can put an all call out to get more help to collect greenery.
And Celia said that she's coming in at 7 to set up and we'll do the first class.
I got it.
It's Angela that said that, and Kara's can bring greenery. Why don't all you folks reach out to Elizabeth by email or text so that she gets all this? Karen Alexander is volunteering for greenery. Fine.
I am writing as fast as I can. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Again, email me, and I will not keep the meeting up any further, but I want to stress one thing before I go. We have to take all of the leftover greenery with us. We can only use the dumpster for trash, the newspaper, and food. So we also I need to coordinate something with that as well. So I'm open to ideas. So please contact me with any questions. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Elizabeth. Appreciate it. Okay, we've got a request from the Technology Committee. We have a need for assistance with the AV equipment for our meetings. As you know, we've made our in-person meetings hybrid so that our master gardeners and friends who aren't able to make the meetings for some reason can still be involved. But we have a bunch of equipment that has to go from the Purdue Center to Prosser. And we need to sort of start a AV club. If you remember back in high school, I don't know if any of you are actually part of the AV club, pushing those reel-to-reel projectors down the hall to the classes they were supposed to be in. Most of you have to remember reel-to-reel projectors. Anyway, we need multiple people to help because we don't want to have one person have to do it all the time. But we've got, training. You don't have to have a high level of technology. So, we can train you in whatever technology information you need. If you are interested in doing that, give me an email, okay, or a text or whatever. And I will be asking for you, asking again, but we do need somebody or some people to help with the AV equipment. It's very important. All right.
Diane,
Yes.
while you're on the subject of meetings, Judy asked in the chat, why are we having Zoom meetings first 3 months of the year?
Let's see, I'd have to let the program committee respond to that if they want to tonight. Jeff, are you here?
It's not. Hi, Diane.
Yes.
This decision of the executive board to have meetings by Zoom in January, February, and March. They felt it was difficult for some people to get there in the dark winter time, and so we are complying with that request.
All right, that sounds good. Yeah, we've thank you very much. We've basically set it up that way because we do have, and I see Kara wants to help with AV. Thank you. We do have people who don't want to drive when it's dark, and Zoom seems to be the best way to handle that. Okay, so any questions? Any other people who want to help with AV equipment? Just let me know. Thank you. Before we go any further on the agenda, the next thing we have is the nominating committee coming at you. I need to make sure that everybody knows how to vote. Everybody, I think we had most people voting for the minutes. But for the nominating committee, we'll need a vote for the slate for the 2025. So let's try voting one more time as a practice, if that's okay with everybody. And let me know if you can't find the react button, which is at the bottom of the Zoom screen. And let's see, what do I want you to vote on? Let's see.
I think they're just practicing, Diane. I think you don't have to ask them anything.
Oh, okay.
They're just practicing.
Everybody raise your hand. Everybody raise your hand then. I want to see hands up.
You see how to do it?
I don't know.
It's at the bottom of the screen. There should be something kind of.
If you hover your cursor at the bottom of the screen, you're going to have a react button show up.
Where is that?
And it will allow you to do a thumbs up or hands up.
Oh, the video.
It looks like a heart. You're looking for the image of a heart.
Yeah.
Judith, do you see that?
Judith and Marino, your audio's on.
Oh.
My version has a little emoji thing and it says reactions.
That's it. Yeah. Yep, that's it. There's a hand that can go up or a thumbs up either way. We'll take a hand up or a thumbs up. All right. Everybody find it? Everybody comfortable with this?
Sorry, Diane, I don't see mine.
Rose, are you
I'm
on
on
an
the top
iPad?
of the screen.
I'm on an
Mine's at the
iPad.
top.
You'll have to scroll. your reactions are gonna be somewhere else. You're gonna have to like scroll.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
I know. Don't you love technology? It'll get you every time.
My hand's up. You just can't see it.
All right.
Wait a minute.
If you're on an iPad, it's at the top of the screen and it says more. You click on that and you go to the bottom and you'll have your react buttons.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, excellent. Okay, good.
See, look how techy you all are. You don't
This
need
is
me
great.
around.
Yep.
All right. Does everybody have it? Hands up. Any questions? I think we're getting there. All right. Because the next part is important for us to be able to vote, and I think we have it.
Okay.
Okay.
Everybody take your hands down now. Like go back
Yes.
to take your hands down. There you go.
Lower your hands. Thank you.
And Diane, I can get the count because it shows up in the participants thing. So you can run the
Okay.
meeting and I can get a count.
All right, that sounds good. All right, so we still have some hands up. So if you want to take your hands down.
I know how to wait. I can do that for him too. Hold on.
Okay, excellent.
I figured out how to do that a minute ago. Okay, there you
I
go.
love technology. Oh, wonderful. Okay, excellent. Okay, so where was I? Oh, I'm going to turn this over to the nominating committee. Mike Bradford.
Thank
You're
you.
on.
Okay. I presented the slate of candidates to the board of directors at their meeting last Tuesday. They approved it by acclamation. So I'm going to give you the slate of candidates verbally. So the slate of candidates for 2025 are President Shelley Haynes, Vice President Holly Tash, Secretary Veronica Rife, and she's the incumbent, so she'll be running for a second term. Outreach Gene Wolf, and then Program/Technology Barb Brewster. I was having difficulty getting any interest in anybody for a treasurer, so Diane and I communicated a couple times, and I told her I was willing to run if it didn't cause any problem with the Constitution or bylaws or anybody. So they accepted me on the slate as well. So you have our entire slate, and I'm going to turn it over to Diane for discussion and open the floor and put it up for vote. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. So are there any nominations from the floor? Or I should say from the wall of names I got in front of me. And if not, then let's go vote. All those in favor of approving the slate, raise your hand. Oh, I love all those hands up.
Okay, a
We've
little
got
over
them.
half of you have voted.
Yeah, we've got a majority though of the people that are on.
Everybody done their voting? Okay, so take your hands down. So the next thing, opposed, same sign. And it looks like approval has it. Okay, so thank you very much for voting.
Diane, there was a questions about interns can't vote, and that's
Right.
correct. They
Yeah,
cannot.
they cannot, exactly. All right. Any other questions? Okay. So I think in the React, you should also be able to, let's see, let's give a thumbs up for the new slate and thank them very much for volunteering to lead the Master Gardeners next year. We really appreciate it.
And I also think we have to give a big thank you to Mike because getting us slate was a huge job.
Yes. Also, I believe he contacted almost a third of the Master Gardeners. So he's talked to a lot of people in order to get that a great slate for us. All right. Thank you. Thank you for those who are going to be on the board next year, and also thank you, Mike. All right. So we okay, somebody shared their screen who I don't think
It was Ted. Somehow Ted managed to share his screen.
all right. So I want to move on to the next thing. Can we oh, that's excellent. Okay, what I want to do is actually share my screen with you. Earlier this year, Gina went through a flow chart of her responsibilities, lots of responsibilities, and she covered what part of the Master Gardener program she's responsible for. And the board thought it would be a good idea if we did the same so that it would allow members to know you've got a question, who do you contact? And so that's what we did. And hang on, it's been a while since I've shared something. Press the wrong button right off the bat. And where did I lose? Okay, so far I'm not doing a good job of this. Oh, I know why. Sorry, my skills are very rusty. I did press the wrong button and I managed to totally get rid of whatever I was supposed to share. There it is. I'll get there. There we go. All right. So hopefully people can see what I'm sharing. We all
Yeah,
set?
you're good, Diane. Do you want to put that in just regular slideshow because there's see just one slide at a time?
Probably. If I can do that. There we go. There we go. All right. So, in general, what the Master Gardener Board does, of course, we work with Gina, our educator. We review the fund requests and we determine budget and budget priorities for the Sunnyside Master Gardeners. We also review and approve the new projects. The president's duties are, let's see, there's a lot of them here. They create agenda, preside over the Sunnyside Master Gardener meetings and the board meetings. They send out information to members, generally supervise the affairs of the organization. They're an ex officio member of all the committees. They are a primary contact for the educator and appoints members for the nominating committee, audit committee, scholarship committee, and bereavement committee. Your vice president, the president is absent. They're the person to contact for projects. They oversee all the projects. They chair the project committee. They send annual project commitment forms to project chairs, update the Sunnyside Master Garden project book every 2 years. I think Kim has been doing a lot of that work for us. And they request or ask project chairs to describe their project at the monthly meetings. The secretary takes minutes and takes care of the club's correspondence, that maintains the membership list and directory, and welcomes new members. So if you have a change in your email or address or whatever, that information should go to the secretary. Sorry, I went backwards on that. The treasurer collects the dues and renews memberships, maintains club's insurance policies, does all the club banking, do all statutory filings to maintain tax exemption status, pays all club bills and reimbursement for project leaders for approved expenses, creates monthly financial reports, assist audit committee, and act as an interface to the membership. So if you have questions about funding, money, treasurer is the person. The program technology liaison, so they're the interface with the program committee and also as the technology committee. And we have a community outreach person who is the point person for speaker requests. So if an organization wants a speaker, they contact our community outreach person. This person also sends out news releases and coordinates the community Master Gardener booths that we have and secures the wonderful vendor discounts that we have. And the executive board member is there to advise and assist the president. This is typically the past president. It provides continuity to the board and chairs the scholarship committee and coordinates advertisement of scholarships to local school groups. I wanted to talk a little bit about how new projects are approved. A new project form is completed by Sunnyside Master Gardener member and submitted for review and approval by the Sunnyside Master Gardener Executive Board. And then once the board reviews it and approves it, it goes to the educator for final review and approval. Remember, the board deals with money, so we have to look at our finances to determine whether we can afford the project. And last, so if you're interested in writing a grant for funding a project, contact the president with information about what grant you're applying for, giving the website, application, etc. That's important because sometimes grants are one grant per organization. So if you submit 2 per organization, they both get thrown out. And also what information you might need from the Sunnyside Master Gardeners in order to do the grant, like the 501c3 status, the EIN number, etc. And if requested, we also have a standing grants committee. These are individuals who have had some experience with grant writing and are available to assist in that process. And then once the grant is completed and submitted, the grant application and report due dates and other reports need to be submitted to the executive committee for the records, just so that we don't lose track of any grants. Okay. All right. I want to stop sharing right there. That information will all be up on the web page so that you had kind of easy access to it. Do I have any questions? Have I put everybody to sleep? No, not yet. I don't see a bunch of raised hands yet. Okay. All right. Then I just have a couple more things to talk about, and I will let everybody to have their day, evening, I should say. Okay, just want to remind everybody that our next Sunnyside Master Gardener meeting is actually our holiday party at Prosser. And just also remind you that the deadline has been extended for sending in the registration. And you need to make the check payable to Sunnyside Master Gardeners and send it to our PO box. All that information is in the webpage. And you have until it has to be postmarked by Friday, November 8th. So if you haven't registered yet, I would get the your registration in the mail ASAP. Okay, and there will be drawings for door prizes. All right. You can also pay via Zelle, and if you have questions about that, contact Kathy. Oh, and as I said, I mentioned before, the Tomato Festival cookbooks will be on sale at the holiday dinner. Again, I want to remind everybody to complete everything, your annual membership form, pay your dues, record your hours, all your hours, and your annual agreement form by December 1st. Get that all in. It's all very important for us. And it's also time to start thinking about 2025. I know it's just November, but we have the Pollinator Day coming up with the Sunnyside Master Gardener booth, and this is thinking about fundraising for 2025. And one of our goals is to use the Sunnyside Master Gardener booth to raise some funds. We're looking for people who want to grow pollinated plants. If you're interested, let me know or contact Connie Holzapfel. And we have the Tomato Festival. Our first meeting is going to be Monday, November 11th at the Shine Room at 1:30. So if you're interested in participating in the Tomato Festival, come join us on Monday. We will also have a Zoom link. I don't have that yet, but we will have it. All right. Questions? I just threw a lot of stuff at you.
We've got a question from Joanne in the chat. She wants to know what if you're going to volunteer at wreath making day, can you enter hours before 12/1?
Enter any hours you've accumulated before 12/1. Then if you do them after, go ahead and do them after. Or if you're banking on those hours to finish out, send me an email so that I know. Then I don't have to harass you, but then get them in as quickly as you can after wreath making.
And then Elizabeth is asking if interns can use wreath class for next year's volunteer hours.
It's cumulative, so it doesn't matter. Volunteers are cumulative, so it doesn't matter. Oh, well, yeah, no, it's cumulative. So yeah, they're just going for their hours as a whole. It's getting close to 8 o'clock. What other hard questions do you have before I completely lose my mind?
Yeah, any other questions? No. If not, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
I do.
All right.
Marino.
And all those in favor, raise your hand now that you know how to do it. Or I have a feeling you're just going to leave. Either way.
Veronica's got the hours in.
Right.
Training tonight is 3/4 of an hour, 0.75, and business meeting is 0.75.
All right. It looks like adjournment has been approved. So thank you all very much. And I will hopefully see you at the December holiday party. Thank you.